Recent superintendent scandals in public schools have exposed the failures of states to regulate and enforce basic civil rights. And now dozens of parental rights groups, including Defending Education, are calling for a 50-state audit to uncover those laws and policies that promote discrimination under the banner of DEI. Joining us now to explain what this nationwide effort could mean for classrooms is Senior Director of Communications at Defending Education, Erika Sanzi. Good morning, Erika. We've talked about this a lot here on the show. We have now seen growing pressure from really parents across the country to clean up what they call this big mess in America's public schools. From your perspective, what exactly are parents seeing in schools that's led to this national call for a 50-state audit?
I mean, certainly there are concerns about vetting of candidates, employees, and also in child safeguarding. The story out of Des Moines, Iowa, with the superintendent who turned out to be here illegally and registered to vote in a different state and, fled from ICE agents and had a loaded gun in his car and had lied about his resume and on his resume, plus the recent arrests also with the superintendent that had worked in Evanston, Illinois. Those are the higher profile cases, but the reality is there are some concerns about vetting and also around education laws and policies that we see in districts that are not compliant with federal civil rights or constitutional protections.
Yeah.
And so we spearheaded an effort to send letters to all 50 states and the District of Columbia, essentially telling them that they are asking them to, conduct a top to bottom audit of their education laws and policies to ensure compliance, because if they don't, in addition to putting federal money at risk, they're also jeopardizing student safety.
Are there instances, though, like in Iowa, for example, where the all-female school board there specifically discriminated, looking for someone that was a minority and not looking at the candidates as a whole, specifically looking for someone, which is why they didn't properly vet that particular candidate? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, there's definitely reason to think that they're looking for candidates who check certain boxes, and race is one of those boxes. And in the case of in Des Moines, they actually had, racial quotas on the books where they had promised to have, I believe it was 40% of their teachers and administrators people of color by 2030. So that's against the law, number one. But number two, it does lead us to believe that they are overlooking and compromising, again, proper vetting and child safeguarding in their efforts to hire people who check certain identity boxes.
Isn't it surprising to you that so many Americans do not know that's discriminatory?
Well, it's funny, we launched in 2021, this organization, and what I have learned over time is a lot of people, including people who work in education and in school districts, do not realize that the Civil Rights Act applies to everybody. They, for whatever reason, it may have been presented even in school this way, that because when it was passed in 1964, they were righting a wrong that at the time was discrimination in favor of white Americans against Black Americans. What they don't, so in their mind, that law applies to Black Americans or potentially maybe other minority groups. What they don't realize is that that law applies to everybody. You can't just flip it and then suddenly make it legal. And I have had more conversations with reporters and people who work for school districts who weren't aware that civil rights protections apply to everybody. So that's been kind of eye-opening, but also I think does help to explain how some of these districts, I mean, Iowa, Maine, and California have laws on the books, state laws, that require them to discriminate on the basis of race in hiring. So it's not just that the school districts in some ways are doing what the state law tells them to do. So really, they've got to repeal state law. It's not as simple as a school district just, scrubbing a bad policy.
Yeah, so this is actually sort of an educational assistance program you guys are doing as well when you're doing this. Senior Director of Communications at Defending Education, Erika Sanzi. Great to see you. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
You too. Happy Halloween, Jan. Have fun.
Thank you.